It's good. It's good. Siguro, isa lang question ko and then maybe we can go back to overachiever na. Kasi
Yeah.
this is important eh. The backstory is important for us to deal with the
Yeah.
present eh. Diba?
Yeah.
And then you know that kasi behavioral science ka naman. Kaya
Yeah, that's true.
I'm having a good time here listening to you kasi alam ko naman, alam mo to.
Yeah.
Yeah. But of course, there's a spiritual side to it. And this is where siguro
Yeah.
my ultimate question na now that is fallen into its proper places.
Yeah.
Siguro my question is, have you totally forgiven your parents for what happened?
I think I super love that question.
Hey, what's up everyone, people here, and welcome to my channel. And my goal here is to help you make wise decisions in life by listening to the conversations I have with people, especially with students. I've been a campus missionary and also youth pastor for more than a decade now, and let me tell you, it's been my joy having conversations with so many students. Ask them questions, listen to them, and help them make decisions based on the Word of God. And if you like this, please subscribe, share this, make a comment, and like this. In the meantime, here's today's episode. All right. Okay na, game?
Game, Pastor Parker.
All right. Okay. So, Clarence, so glad to see you.
Glad to see you virtually, Pastor
Virtually.
Oo nga eh. Tagal na.
Tagal na. Parang
Yeah.
nagkita last time. You know? Kamusta ka naman? Kamusta ka naman?
Okay naman. Kasi it's my final season. So I'm
finals.
down to my last week. Well, matagal na natapos yung final season for PUP, but in my department, we had to extend because of different situations, like delayed yung papers ng iba, so we had to extend.
Yeah.
So I feel like the fabricated answer would be okay lang, but deep inside, pagod, of course. You know,
Pagod.
every day you wake up thinking about the stuff that you have to do, and then you sleep at night thinking about the stuff that you have to do. Well, the good news is it's about to end in like 3 to 4 days. So that's something that I'm looking forward to. Yeah, but those days are the tough ones. Kasi yun yung mga stretch na deadlines na talaga. And not only that, I also have parang may internship going on and other stuff in my life. So yeah, it's been a lot. It's been overwhelming. Pero you know, I'm still here. So feeling ko yung nagmamatter.
Okay.
Ikaw, Pastor Paul, kamusta?
I'm good. I'm especially enjoying my school of church planting. Yay. Okay. For Santa Mesa, go Santa Mesa. Okay. Yeah. So it's a 4-month schooling. So for me to know the intricacies of church planting, okay? Tsaka managing people, pastoring people, theology, doctrines, which I really love. So there. So I'm really excited for the next 4 months. Yeah. But even that, gusto ko pa rin gawin to. Kasi I love conversations. Eh.
True.
Anyway, all right. Sige. So what brings you here, Clarence? How can I help you?
Feeling ko for me, because I've been watching a lot of videos for PPaulonPeople.
Wow, thank you po.
Yeah, I love listening to conversations as well, especially substantial and meaningful ones. I feel like because parang the stories being told by the students before, they're super, I don't know, relatable. And I also feel like not even my story, because I don't want to sound too self-centered in a way, but I feel like my experiences in life would also would speak on behalf of like thousands of students who are confused, I'd say, with what they're doing with their lives, especially now na parang we're not getting any younger. Yeah, kasi now I just turned 22. And I have been inside Every Nation campus for 6 years. Kaka-22 ko lang this month, actually.
Mm-mm.
Na actually, mga 3 weeks. Mga 3 weeks na pala. So for me now, iba na talaga yung sense of parang meaning ng pagiging student.
Mm-mm.
Kaya I wanted to be here. That's so that I can share my experiences with other students as well. Ayun.
Sorry, ano yan? Ano?
Yeah, that's the end of it. Yeah,
You wanted to what? To share your
share my
experience?
experiences. Yeah, to the students. I feel like I have a story to tell. Parang yun. Yeah.
So I guess the question is, ano yung story na gusto mo sabihin? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Ano yung story na?
I don't know. I feel like I've talked to many people about this, but I've
Yeah.
always been wanting to hear from you. I'd say like I messaged you last night, 2 nights ago now. You've always been one of the people that I look up to. And mind you, like to everyone watching here, now we never had, but we only had one decent conversation,
Yeah, yeah.
which I'll never disclose what it's about. Pero, but yeah, I guess parang the stuff na parang has been bugging me for years now is the fact that I am an overachiever. And na I feel like as a student, I always go beyond my limits. Actually,
Yeah.
let's start the last week. So I'm currently having my internship now, and I'm just being the student that I am. I always kind of give myself a hard time when it comes to the tasks that are given to me. Like giving myself a hard time in a sense that I always wanted to be. I've been meticulous with what I do, and I always wanted to be good
Yeah.
and perfect. And
Yeah.
because of that, that caused delays. Kasi nga parang I feel like I'm too overwhelmed with the work that I have been receiving. That so they're all well put out. And then my boss at parang the company that I'm interning with messaged me na we should talk about this, ganito ganyan. And then yun, we had a conversation, and then she told me na parang uh, what what do you think are the reasons why parang late napapasa yung work mo? Do you think you're um, having a hard time with the amount of the work that you put in? And then that's when the time na naging honest ako sa kanya na parang because I feel like every time that I'm doing something, I feel like I'm underqualified. So that's the idea. Parang that's the catalyst, I'd say, na, oh, I feel like this is a good story to tell on people. That's the start of the idea. But the context of that goes way, way back. So the story is parang all my life, when I was younger, I've been very competent. And I was enrolled in a school here locally na are also filled with competent people, and the environment has always been competitive. And then science high school ako afterwards. And yeah, same goes nung elementary ako. Everyone was just really doing great. So when I got into college, I also got in a competitive university, which is great. Although, parang all those years have morphed me into the kind of guy who always felt like I had to do things competitively. In a way, it disrupted sort of like the realities of my life that I have to consider. What do I mean by that? I guess it's the fact that sometimes I take things beyond my limit. Like I don't rest. I barely rest, and I always feel like there's just so much underlying pressure since all your life you've been doing really well, and now na parang I just turned 22 and things got more I don't know what's the word, parang got more serious in a way. I've always I've always felt like the pressure now is um, more echoed. I say the pressure now is heavier, but I cannot fail. Like there's no room for failures. You know what I mean? And parang I love it na because other students they're so chill about just passing the grade. Kasi sila
Yeah.
parang stress lang masaya na ako. But me, parang it wasn't like that. Like for me, I had to aim for the highest of highest talaga. Kasi nga, that's what I have been parang used to. And parang even my friends are like that. So yeah, I feel like yung like the internship is the one that started it. But that's when the time that I had 2 days just by thinking about it na. Yeah, where am I going with this? Parang ganun. And what's the I don't know, parang emotional and spiritual background for this? Parang of course I'm not naman like I know naman what's going on in my life, and I could definitely pinpoint moments in my life that have made me who I am today and why I perform crazily. Pero I guess it becomes more alarming now that I am down to my last 2 sems and parang there's just so much to think. There's so much to unpack from that statement alone. So I guess that's the kind of the overachiever mindset situation. Something that I want to talk to in this conversation.
Wow. Is this the first time na may nakausap ka regarding that matter, or may nakausap ka ng ibang tao regarding that?
Never. I never sat down on it. Parang I never when somebody, and this is not me bragging, other people really thought that I have it all together. That's why I don't want to be vulnerable in front of just somebody. Because I've been performing well and I've been doing great with parang what I do. They think na, wow, you're really blessed and really, gifted in a way na you never failed a subject or parang whenever you do something, ito ganyan. So parang for me, I wouldn't say this is the first time, but I would say that this is the first time that I want to talk about it intentionally. In a way na I know that this would help me and a lot more students out there. Kasi back then, it was just parang a passing train of thought. Or parang it comes off as a joke sometimes. Or it comes off as a humor. And parang all of my friends kasi, since we grew up in the same environment, we're all going through the same stuff. And we don't have the answers. Like all of us are just, parang we're just as confused as each other. Kaya we don't have, every time now we talk about it, it becomes a pity party talaga. Like, Talaga, like, alam mo, for example, we had a reunion. It was just in April. So we're talking about, and mind you, all of us are really successful students now. Like we're from other nga, like from UP, from Ateneo, from all these big universities. And if you're an outsider, I'd say you would look at us na, wow, these are the students who did well when they were in high school and now it's paying off, and all of them, parang ganda ng mga estado nila with their graduating life now. But nung kami na yung nag-usap, I am not kidding when I said na, when I'm saying na lahat talaga umiyak because they feel like failure.
What?
Yeah, legit. Yeah, and grabe na bigla ako kasi akala ko ako lang yung nakaka-feel ng ganitong klaseng academic pressure somehow. But my classmates talaga, even yung mga class valedictorian namin, parang when you go to their Facebook, parang wow, they all have this accomplishment and whatever. But nung kami na yung magkakasama, umiyak talaga yung iba kong mga classmates when they were talking about parang the future plans, ano mangyayari sa amin, like, and most of us really feel like we're a failure. I don't know where did that came from, and when you look at it, hindi naman talaga, pero somehow that's what we felt, which is really sad, and that's why I'm here, I'd say. Parang, I don't know, because I feel like I feel like a lot of students could lend a hand from this situation, because I know I'm not the only one, for sure.
Yeah. Wow. The reason why I had to ask kung may nakausap ka na dito, and then you told me hindi mo pa siya naupuan, hindi mo talaga siya process, and now is just the time that you're asking this. I mean, I'd say that's really courageous of you.
Clarence. I feel like I'm in the age now where I'm not naman super tanda, and I'm pretty sure that along the way I still have to unpack so many issues in my life. But now, parang as a student, I feel like I'm in the age now na I don't want to bring this to work. I don't want to bring this into the parang professional world. And I know I'll never come prepared, but at least I want to give it a little preparation, I'd say, when I transition from being a student to a professional. And as of now, it's super messy, as in super messy, like emotionally, and just I don't know where that is coming from. Pero
and you told me earlier na yung the next two, kasi 2 sems ka na lang, tama na. And then if I heard you correctly, this is crucial kasi this is crucial because ayaw mo siyang dalhin sa corporate world kung saan ka mapasok man. Yung pagiging overachiever mo, ganun.
Yes, because it's becoming more of an insecurity now. I feel like it's not just it's not anymore a situation. Like sometimes whenever I think about parang my future career and all that, parang this mindset more of stops me from there's so many opportunities feeling ko out there, but I feel like this certain mindset is the one that stops me from welcoming those opportunities. I don't know if that's making any sense. Na it becomes now more of questioning yourself rather than parang a situation. It becomes more of an insecurity na I'll always, because of the standard na I'm very busy on achieving, parang I'll never be able to see myself. Parang I'll always feel like I'm underqualified for everything.
Talaga?
Yeah, parang ganun. Yeah, it becomes more of like that because I was so busy parang looking at the standard that I've set to myself na alam mo mga like na basic one na at the age of 23, ganito ka na, at the age of 24, ganito ka na, when in reality, it's not like that. And I also can't help but compare myself to other classmates who are doing really well then in what they do. And as time goes by now, it becomes more of an insecurity that hinders me from actually doing, actually fulfilling the purpose that I feel like was given to me in a way. So I think that's it.
I think that's really valid thing that's happening to your life, and it's a valid feeling. Nakakatakot eh. I mean, the way I interpret what's happening to you is ayaw mo dalhin to sa work kasi alam mo yung feeling na yun. Alam mo yung baggage included. Diba? Parang ayaw ka naman ng ganito. Gusto ka naman sana ng light na buhay. Ganito. Right? No? Parang, that's the way I interpret it. Kaya sinabi mo crucial tong 2 sems na to na if hindi natin to madidil or hindi mo to madidil, baka kainin ka nito pagdating sa work. I mean, it's a totally different ball game pag nag-work ka na, di ba? And you don't want this kind of life. And I think that's a good goal. if I may say, parang it's on one hand kasi, it's okay to be an achiever. Hindi naman.
Yeah.
'Di ba? On one hand, ayaw mo yung baggage na na-experience mo for the past years. Right?
Yeah.
Sige, let me try this route. No? Alam niyo naman, 'di ba, na ilang beses ko na preach to na naghirap ako ng bata ako, 'di ba?
Yeah.
Prior to that, hindi ako nag-aaral ng matino, promise. Hindi ako nag-aaral ng matino. Bad trip talaga. Ang baba ko sa chemistry. Lalo na kumuha ako ng mechanical engineer sa Adamson. Go Falcons. Tapos, baba ng grade ko sa math. Ayan. And I love to play the computer. May arcade noon malapit sa Adamson. So, and then, na-bankrupt yung dad, yung tatay ko na-bankrupt siya. It was really one of the worst situations of my life. And for the next 3 years, nagtrabaho ako. I became, by God's grace, na-promote ako. I earned a lot of money. And after 3 years, sabi ko, babalik na ako sa school. Kasi pinush din ako ng mga boss ko. Sabi sa akin ng mga boss ko, marami ka pa ma-achieve sa buhay. I was 23 back then. Yeah. Ganun katagal ako nagtrabaho. So, shucks, matanda na ako. Sabi ko, ayoko na mag-aral ulit eh. Pero sabi sa akin ng mga boss ko, you have to go back. Marami pa mararating mo pag-graduate ka. I went back. Then, I made sure that my grades were always a Dean's Lister's grade. Kasi ang gusto ko na mangyari, maging summa cum laude pag-graduate ko. Kasi I did not have that motivation before. And my motivation was this. It's not because I want to become a summa cum laude lang. It was because na-feel ang hirap ng pera pala kitain. Ang hirap kumita ng pera, sabi ko, mag-aaral ako naman kasi I wanna compensate for this talaga. And pag Dean's Lister ako, wala akong babayaran. So I had a motivation kung ba't gusto ko maging achiever. Not for the sake of being overachiever, but because I had a context. So that's my question for you right now. Saan galing yon yung you created a standard for yourself, tapos you are an overachiever. So I want to focus more on you. Where did that come from? Where or when did that happen? Saan siya nagsimula? Maybe there's a root of all of this.
Yeah. I feel like the safest answer, and this is not meant negatively. Not the safest answer, pero the answer that makes sense. I think would be my family talaga. Kasi I remember nag-start in as far as I could remember, nag-start in grade 1. And then, nag-top 1 ako nun. So, wow, grabe. Grade 1, top 1. And parang, nag-start ka na elementary life mo, and top 1 ka, and all that. And parang, lagi akong nasa star section, ganito. Parang the basic, super cringy elementary story. Pero, parang siyang ganun. And then, nung nag-science high school na ako, that's when I was exposed to different, parang a sense of success. I think that's when na-expose talaga ako to a sense of success in a way na narinig ko yung mga alumni namin na parang this is where they are now, this is what they have been doing. And even my teachers back then, they're so competitive talaga. Like they're all researchers. Parang my favorite professor at that time was an engineer, and at the same time was a chemist, and he's been doing all this stuff. And because I've been doing really well in elementary and high school, my parents at the time, and even some of the people who are taking care of me, really encouraged me to do great. As in, it was, I wouldn't call it a pressure from them kasi they were the kind of parents talaga na who would explain why I need to do great in school, to do good in school. Parang they weren't naman the kind of people na, ito yung kunin mong course, malaking pera dito. They weren't like that. They were parang, very encouraging in a way that, you know na you're doing this for you. And so I feel like that has been implanted in my mind na out of nowhere, I just felt like I was designed to be someone. I feel like I don't know, people fed that to my brain. My family fed that to my brain. The environment that I had
Ah.
fed that to my brain. Na parang, I cannot be a loser in this parang people filled with parang competence. Parang ganun. Parang, yeah, but I can't be a loser. But it's more of like that. I guess that was my insecurity channeling. Na back then it was just an idea, and then it grew around to where they are now. And then nung nag-senior high school ako, sinisi yung mga kaibigan. Even my friends talagang they were very vocal about, oh yeah, you're really great, you're really good, parang continue mo lang what you're doing. And again, parang that fed the idea in my head na, oh, I was really meant to do something. I was really meant to do great. And I also grew up inside the church. Parang nag-victory weekend ako at the age of 13. And the culture inside the church talaga, they really believe in you. I think talagang, that was implanted in my mind that parang my leaders, even back here nung nasa Olongapo ako, believed in me and everyone's believing in
Wow.
me.
Yeah.
And parang that's the time na parang, okay, I cannot fail. Parang gano'n na parang a lot of people are not naman looking up on me, but a lot of people, believes in my potential, I'd say. And sadly, that became a pressure. Kasi I don't want to call it a pressure kasi like from other people, I know that they mean well. I know that
Yes.
it's okay.
Yes.
Encourage me, like even Kuya Mark, my parents, my siblings. And ito pa, like whenever I achieve something, talagang my parents are the first people who would post about it. Sometimes nga, dadaan lang kami sa mall and then they will parang come across their friends and then they, oh, alam mo ba, si Clarence, ganito ganyan. And that became a pressure, I'd say, na if I fail, I feel like I'm going to disappoint a lot of people. Not that I owe them anything, but it's just that parang I feel like I'm going to disappoint a lot of people. I think that came from that. And parang yung mga those encouragement plus the environment that I grew up in, like in my school, that parang that's what made me who I am today and where I am today. And sadly, it became this. I became insecure. I wonder kung bakit. Pero I knew it, that those encouragements were meant to empower me and were meant to fuel me. And I'm really, and I cannot stress this enough, I'm really grateful to God that He gave me a church community and a healthy group of friends to help me out whenever I'm feeling down. Parang they were the very first people who would encourage me. But yeah, it became like that. I feel like I owe the world something. It became like that.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just super sad. I hope that story made sense.
Yeah. And I'm trying to I'm trying to feel the whole story, and the way you're saying it nga is on one hand you feel grateful because you were raised in a culture that you were greatly encouraged.
Yeah, super talagang.
Yeah, no?
Encouraged talaga.
In a sense, wala ka naman masamang tinapay doon sa family mo tsaka sa friends mo dahil they meant well. So God placed you in a situation where you felt so valued and encouraged. Where a lot of people, di ba? A lot of people, they want someone to pat them in the back, ganyan.
Yeah.
And yet, as time went by, what was meant as a blessing for you na feel mo parang hala nagiging curse na to Kasi nagiging pressure, it develops something in your heart. Tama ba? Na parang, hala, I have to keep up with the expectation na.
Yeah, and parang, there's also a lens of story na I forgot to tell. I came from a broken family. So at the age of 10, my parents separated, and parang we were taken care under the supervision of my aunt and my lola. My lola was now in States.
Mm-mm.
And my guardians now, which is yun, my tita and my lola, and yung papa ko here, yung mama ko kasi, wala na. They would always tell us na no one's here to back you up. Parang ganun. Parang other people, they have their families are complete, ganito ganyan. And parang for us, parang when we were growing up, not naman in a destructive way, pero we were told na you had to be tough. You had to, parang, you're not in a conventional setup. And ewan ko, back then, parang the chismis culture sa school namin was just so prevalent na, kasi parang stage mom yung mom ko at that time eh. Tapos hiwalay sila ng dad ko. Tapos, ayan, it felt like, again, I needed to prove something na I can do this. Naman, kahit na unconventional yung setup ng family ko and all that. That's why parang I needed to do this. Otherwise, and I don't mean parang anything by this, parang ito lang yung na-feed sa akin na parang otherwise, you just end up in mga rebelding estudyante na galing sa mga broken family. Ganun. So parang I wanted to I guess I just want to prove something. Yeah, there's no other words for it. Yeah. Okay, kahit na ganito yung situation ko with my family, kahit ganito yung how it turned out to be for us. Kasi, nung nagwala yung mom and dad ko, it also means that we struggled financially, we struggled spiritually and emotionally. That's actually the first reason why I became involved in the church. So yun yung, I feel like, that's an important and a vital lens of the story that I forgot to mention a while ago, which definitely changes the whole situation now.
Yeah.
Yeah, parang ganun.
Yeah.
So yun. Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that story, Clarence.
True.
I pray for you and your family, especially for your mom and dad. I mean, I know some people who are super close in my life. I separate yung family, yung husband and wife, and I've seen firsthand how devastating that is for a person. Yeah. That's why I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah. Alam mo naman, di ba, that God is our Father, and He'll comfort you.
Yeah.
Now I'm getting the whole picture na, and thank you for telling me the backstory kasi mas naging clear sa akin.
Yeah.
You see, ito kasi naiisip ko kanina, no. A lot of people, they want encouragement, a pat in the back, because that's the only thing that will give them life. And nakakaawa yung ganun talaga na marinig ko sa mga tao yon, at sa mga estudyante. Sana man lang may marinig akong encouragement sa buhay ko. Sana yung tatay ko man lang. Sana yung nanay ko. So, but you grew up in an environment where a lot of people were encouraging you. At the onset, that paved the way for you to perform more kasi ayaw mong nag-create yun ng standard eh. The more I do this, the more naging result is the more I do this, the more I tama ba, please them?
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Yeah, okay. However, now that I understood where you were coming from, nung naghiwalay sila, sabi mo kanina, I'm gonna prove something. Hindi mangyayari iniisip ninyo. Yan. And I think, no, Clarence, out of that, and you were so young. Back then, malamang. How old are you? 13?
10.
10.
10.
For you for that to be created at a very young age. I mean,
yeah.
that's an unfortunate. I'm trying to find the best word kasi that's really unfortunate to happen to a
That's true.
person tas mafit. Yung makita ko lang yung magulang ko na nag-aaway ng bata kami. Nakaka-insecure na.
Yeah.
Yung nagsisigawan sila dati pa naman, as in batang-bata pa ako nun. Normal na mag-away ang magulang, di ba? Nakaka-insecure na. How much more pa yung naghiwalay? And did you feel that much insecurity na naghiwalay sila?
Yeah, definitely. 100%. I feel like, and this is not against them because now we're so civil. I love the two of them.
Yeah.
Also sila now. I'm really glad that things turn out the way they are now. Because I know a lot of people have it worse, around broken family and all that. But I knew, like in the back of my head, that even me and my siblings knew that a majority of what we are today is derived from that situation.
Yeah.
And it's not a secret, naman. It's not like, and I'm not scared anymore. But I'm 100% sure that not only that, but so many things that are going on in my life now. I feel like I'm still suffering up until today. Not I'm not suffering, but I'm still like going through up until today. Are derived from that situation. And yun nga, again, I grew up inside the church, and the church were at least what they seemed to me was like really a bunch of parang really, really godly families, especially parang my personal circle of friends na mga anak ng pastor na kaibigan ko, and I get to hear their experiences with their families, and I've always felt like I was questioning myself, parang would I have the things that I'm suffering now, or like I'm going on now, parang if I did not have to go through that situation. Parang ganun. But sometimes, like, it's just a thought now because I know I can't do anything about it, and I know that I'm 22 now, and I know that God designed my way to be this, and I know that He has a goal, and it's just really a matter of trusting and holding on to His story, which sometimes it can get messy. But ayun, like sometimes I really ask myself, like I really question that myself every now and then. Parang ano kaya, no? How would my life turn out if my parents didn't have to go through that? Kasi tumanda naman ako, naintindihan ko naman na kailangan talaga nila, na it wasn't working. And that's the reason why I was able to forgive them along the way. That's also the reason why parang me and my siblings have a healthy relationship with our history, with our parents now. Kasi we're at peace now with it, but it doesn't mean that it answers all the questions. Pero we're at peace with it. Na, okay, ganun talaga yung situation ng parang family namin, I'd say. But again, it doesn't fill the gap. Parang us being with peace at it doesn't fill the gap. Up until today, we still catch ourselves. I feel like we could have been spared from a lot of things. And we also feel bad for our parents then. Parang, we also feel sad that they have to go through that. That they had to. I'm sure, as much as it was hard for us, it was also hard for them because it had to be done. But yeah, overall, it's just really an unfortunate situation. And I feel like everyone here who knows what I'm talking about or who came from a broken family knows how it feels. Sa totoo nga lang, and I can confidently say this because I've been hearing a lot of stories about broken homes and broken families na I really had it graciously talaga. Like, parang my parents separating, I really had it graciously kasi I had my lola and my aunt na who had to sit down on us. Parang This is what's happening.
Yeah.
It happened. Pero, of course, um, other people really had it worse. Parang never naman kaming sinaktan ng parents namin physically. Never naman silang nagsigawan sa harap namin. Of course, there's a lot of times that we had to cry about it afterwards. Pero
Yeah.
I'm really grateful na I had it graciously. And even mentally, I had a really great support system kasi nga I grew up inside the church. And spiritually then as well. I'm really happy with how it turned out to be now. But again, it doesn't fill the gap na. Even if I had it graciously, it doesn't necessarily fill the gap. Up until today, I still find myself really confused about. Sometimes I still have that question. Alam mo, other people, so when they think that you're a Christian, you're inevitable of questioning God. But up until today, Lord, I don't get it talaga. Like, say, I've had many versions of the answers to the question. Why would God parang let this happen to me?
Yeah.
I've had many answers now to that. But up until today, I still catch myself na, Lord, this is unfair talaga. I feel like I have a great potential. But ayun, I just know na I just really hold on to that. And this is something that wouldn't be answered in a lifetime, I'd say. Or it would be answered, but not in a way na I would fully understand, like in a way that he designed it to be. But yeah, again, I still catch myself sometimes like asking God, why would that happen to me? That's really unfair. But I imagine that happened to me when I was 10. My older sister was 13 at that time. But my younger sister, she was 4. That's more unfortunate. So yeah, I guess it's just really, it had to be that way. Malungkot lang, but we're all grown up now. We understand the situation. But there's just a lot of could have been and a lot of what ifs and a lot of so yun. Wow, ang layo ng napuntahan.
I know, it's okay. It's okay. That's the whole point of conversations para for us to find out nga kung ano yung root ng lahat.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about this? I mean, or lately, or ngayon mo lang talaga to na process because of the conversation?
Well, I feel like I've always been processing it since I knew it. I'm a very curious guy, and I'm the guy who thinks, who always thinks. But I never dealt with it maturely. I think that's how I want to. That's how I want to put it. Because before, when I was, and there were times that I had to deal with it. Kasi there were, I wouldn't call it as attacks, pero there are times now I have episodes of having to deal with those again and again and again. It was more of an emotional release. But now I have this spiritual maturity now. I became more emotionally grown now. Mas nakilala ko na yung sarili ko when it comes to navigating my emotions. So I think this is the most mature I've ever dealt with this. And this is the most mature I've had a conversation with someone. Kasi parang before, bakit ganito? Bakit ganyan? It was just like that. It's just serious. But now I also kasi, ngayon, for a whole decade, ngayon ko na lang din kasi nakita yung mom ko and yung parang dad ko in the same room. Kasi we're super civil now. And parang even my mom, pupunta na lang siya dito. So I guess for me, that's the only time na, kasi wala naman yung mom ko dati. So parang, that adds up to the confusion, right? Parang, asa na siya? Ano nangyayari sa bahay namin? But now na everything's going, I wouldn't call it really well, but everything's going civil now. But that's also the time that I felt like I can deal with this maturely, and also my sister, parang she's also grown up na rin. I can have a decent conversation with someone who understands me, and so yun, I feel like now is the only time, and also now is the time na parang I can openly say this to someone without feeling ashamed. Kasi back then, it felt like, I mean, para siyang bubog ko eh. Para siyang something na I had to hide. Kasi I was trying to protect my family, I was trying to protect myself. Because I feel like if people will look at me that way, they would treat me differently in a way. I never wanted that. But now na parang the world is becoming more welcoming to different kind of spaces. And parang they're more welcoming na to different kind of mindsets, like in a good way. Now it's the only time na talagang I can confidently talk about it without feeling as if parang kakulangan ko siya. It's just without feeling guilty or shameful about it. Which I'm really glad kasi before it was. It really was. Talagang pag hinahanap sa akin yung parents ko, yung mother ko, hindi ko po alam. Naiya ako.
Yes.
But now I can, which is really, really good. Kasi I know a lot of people who are in my age who can still process what happened to their family. So I'm really glad that it turned out like this. And the credit is not on me.
Yeah.
Kasi I had Kuya Mark on my side. I had my friends. I had a spiritual community, which I feel like I really owe it to them. And most importantly, I have Jesus. A lot of people don't have Jesus in their life, which changes the whole game. But for me, I had him. I had really sensible leaders. So I feel like that's the main reason why I had it graciously. And I feel like and despite of my circumstances, I became forgiving. I became more understanding. Because I had all the reasons for me to be mad, diba? I had all the right na parang dapat na galit ako eh. Dapat rebellious ako, and dapat I would take this against everybody. Kasi parang that's what everyone's doing eh. Parang people have the same situation as me. But ayun, I'm really, really, really grateful talaga na I grew up inside victory specifically kasi I process it talaga with the guidance of Jesus and with the guidance of my leaders. So it ended up like this. Pero yun, I'm not romanticizing the fact that I grew up inside the church. I'm not, if anyone's just watching this thinking that you would have things easier when you're inside the church, you would not. Pero hindi. Probably 10 times heavier kasi you had to deal with it spiritually.
Yeah. Yes.
Kasi other people, they just talk about it and they all have these distractions. But me personally, I really had to sit down a dozen of times, and marami siyang na-branch out na interest in my life, not just this. Kaya it all boils down to this. To my experience with my family. Kaya ayun, that's where I am now. I'm really glad that people inside the church that I look up to demonstrated the love of Jesus.
In your life,
yeah, maybe who I am today. Kasi other people talaga, and this is not me invalidating whatever I had to go through. Kasi I really validated myself parang before. Pero now, na looking at it in hindsight, parang I wouldn't call it I had it easier. Pero now, I'm just using my platform or my experiences towards helping other people then as well. Not that I have it all figured out, pero I also guess it comes with my course. since I'm a behavioral science major, I get to
Uh,
understand different worldviews.
yeah.
So parang I'm really glad that it ended up like, and for my family as well. Kasi yung ibang family, when they separated, that's it. Parang even yung mga magkakapatid, damay-damay. But my family, kahit na nag-separate sila, they're so civil. Me and my siblings are very, very, very close. We're super, super best friends. Kaya yun. I guess that's why I could talk about this now. Kasi nga, it ended up that way. Kasi nga before, it was super messy. So, ayun.
Wow.
Yun.
Yeah. Thank you for explaining that part. and I know that it took you a lot of boldness and gut for you to express your feeling after quite some time. No, I'm not sure kung kailan mo to ulit na process or maybe how many people you have shared this, but now for you to share this to the world, yeah, I think that's commendable din naman talaga.
This
thank
is a
you.
big step, actually.
Yeah. And medyo nagkaroon ng pagbabago sa countenance mo eh. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, I like it when you said no. You have dealt this maturely, and the way you responded. Now, before there's guilt, there's shame. Now you can stand. I mean, you're even told the world today, di ba? Parang,
that's true.
There's an unfortunate thing that happened in their past, but now they're civil, and I'm fine with that. Right? So, parang, now our siblings are okay. So there's no more shame. Now you're more grateful to God because of the church community is there. And Mark was there. Yung mentor mo si Mark, diba? So it's good. Siguro isa lang question ko, and then maybe we can go back to the overachiever na. Kasi this is important eh. The backstory is important for us to deal with the present eh, diba? And then you know that kasi behavioral science ka naman. Kaya
that's true.
I'm having a good time here listening to you kasi alam ko naman, alam mo to. But of course, there's a spiritual side to it. And this is where siguro my ultimate question na now that is fallen into its proper places. Siguro my question is, have you totally forgiven your parents for what happened?
I think I super love that question because forgiveness is always something that has a special place in my heart because my parents did a lot of horrible things to me. But now I can confidently and 100% say yes, that I have forgiven them.
Wow.
And not because I'm a forgiving person lang, but it's really because of how it's really overwhelming how God can forgive me for the things I've done against Him. That has been my ultimate, the ultimate thing that I'm holding on to it. And we've heard this so many times that we should be able to forgive because God can forgive us. But when it came to my senses, and parang I was asking myself, would I be able to forgive me for the things that I've done? I wouldn't. But Jesus did. And who am I to not forgive? And I know, I always say this because I really want this to make a disclaimer that other people think that it's you romanticize forgiveness, you make sound forgiveness so easy when as a matter of fact, people should not forgive, or people should hold grudges. It took me a decade to end up in this position. It took me a decade of madness, of rage, of bad behavior, blaming them. It took me a decade of that for me to end up in this place. And it's really, really a process talaga. And I guess the reason why I was able to forgive them because I was able to see the power of forgiveness parang in my life and how I was forgiven, not just by God, but parang by a lot of the people who I have offended. And my parents were
Wow.
also very persuasive. I super love them kasi my father talaga. Other people, I hear them ranting na they never heard their parents apologize. I hear my father apologize every day. And
Wow. Wow.
that's why when I was in college, I would receive long messages from my father. And I hope, and parang he loves me and he values me. And up until today, even at my age, and even with the parang pressure of our gender na dapat pag lalaki ka, hindi ka expressive. My father talaga, he always hugs me, always tells me he loves me, and every day, talagang tinatanong niya kung anong ulam ko. It even comes to a point na ako na yung ayaw ko mag-reply kasi nakukulitan na ako sa kanya. I know that sounds ungrateful, but
Wow.
it came down to that talaga na the forgiveness wasn't because I was forgiving or I was superficial or whatever. But it was really because God orchestrated the situation so beautifully. But for that to happen, me and God really had to go through a lot of horrible stuff and really had to deal with so much rage and madness. And nagalit talaga ako, Pastor Paul. Like, it's not like naman nagwala ako or anything.
Yeah.
But nagtanim talaga ako ng galit talaga with my parents. Nagtanim talaga ako ng sama ng loob. But now that I understand the Bible differently, I understand life differently, I can confidently say that I have forgiven them. And I still consider them as my parents. Like other people, di ba?
Wow.
Parents, but they're my parents, and for me, parang God has given them as my parents, and I will treat them that way. I still treat them with honor. I will still treat them with respect. And the past does not define us as a family. It changed everything.
Amazing.
But it did not define us as a family. And I guess I'm really glad because my father was reached out as well.
Talaga?
Yeah.
Nice. So, you mean when you say reach out, he received Jesus as his Lord and Savior na.
Yes.
Nice.
And parang even my sisters, my sister had their victory group because I invited them inside the church. Because because I saw how God was able to move in my life. And parang at that time, I was having the major crisis of my life. Nung high school ako, kasi super fresh pa nung hiwalayan ng parents ko. I knew I had to bring them inside the church because I saw how the church transformed me.
Yeah.
It was like that.
Yeah.
I'm really in it. I wouldn't call it solidly peaceful, but I just know that it's God's grace who led me to this situation, and it's just really Him alone. Yeah.
And we need to fight one battles at a time lang naman eh. One battle at a time lang naman. And I think, di ba sabi mo kanina, di ba, peaceful, tapos there's this gap pa din. Yeah. Pero yung mas not really solve, no, mapag-usapan natin tong part ng life mo na to. That is one step, di ba, towards dun sa progress na binibigay ni God sa buhay natin. Kasi ang Christian life naman is progress. Hindi naman siya one stop
overnight.
Of course, when we got saved, boom, okay na talaga, di ba? But there is still the process of being changed. Tapos may babaguhin pa si God sa atin, may tatanggalin pa si God sa atin, may papafeel pa si God sa atin. Kasi gusto niya maging Christ-like tayo to the ultimately perfection pag dumating siya or when we are in heaven. And that's the answer.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate answer doon sa pinakauna nating issue ng overachiever, I think. And here's the reason why, no? I had to ask that. Why need to dissect the past, no? Saan ba galing natin? Because it all started when they broke up, that unfortunate event, and that made you feel like there's a part of you that was broken, na you wanted to piece together by proving something. Because of that, can you imagine in the mind of a 10-year-old? I'm gonna prove something to the world. And I won't be like those other people. And during that time, if you're 10 years old, mga year 2002, no? Tama ba?
Yeah.
2000.
2002. Hindi. 2010.
2010, there's social media all over na eh, di ba? So you were exposed na. Maybe you've read something about this na how to do. So that's why history will tell us na this is unfortunate, but we have to do something about it. It all started there because of the brokenness, resulted to insecurity. Insecurity resulted to what? Proving yourself. And because you prove yourself, well, effectively, if I may say, the people around you cheered for you. Maybe the first people who cheered for you understood where you were coming from, the family. Diba? Despite of the brokenness, okay ka, ang galing mo, keep it up. Then your friends, then the church. It grew and it grew and it grew until such time you wanted to please them. Naging iba na siya. Naging monster na. Naging monster na. Parang hindi naman ito yung gusto ko mangyari in the first place eh. I just wanna fight my insecurity eh. Ang dami ng layer. I'm not a psychologist, so this is just me analyzing and maybe discerning what happened over the years. Hindi naman talaga yun ang purpose mo na mag-please ng tao. You just want to fight the brokenness eh. But if we deal the past, then there's no need for all of these things. Pleasing people because napatawad mo na pala eh. Okay naman na. Parang, I'm pretty sure there's other stuff pa. Maybe that's another conversation. But this part na pinakamalaki, and I like what you said, that the reason why you forgave them is, yes, you were forgiven by Jesus ultimately. But there are people that you hurt in the past and they forgave you. And that was another manifestation of God's forgiveness to you. Di ba, anak, pinatawad ka. Parang one blow to another. When I say blow, one forgiveness to another, made you realize, I have to forgive my parents. Ito pala yung sinasabi ng Diyos. Now that it's so clear, ito yung root cause eh. Forgiveness is what makes us secure in God. Really. Kasi ultimately in life, and this is where the gospel comes in, Clarence. Ultimately, when we are not yet forgiven by God, we are the most insecure in the world. Because our sins will make us insecure talaga. Wala si God dun. And then ultimately, when we die here on earth, we're gonna go to the most insecure place in the world, which is hell. Jesus did not want that. So he died on the cross. But through that death, he might secure you, and he did. The gospel, the cross, his forgiveness is the ultimate security in the world. And when you understand that, it cuts away all the things that happened between 10 years old ka hanggang ngayon. And you see, when you understand, okay, I don't need to prove myself to people pala kasi okay na ako eh. So ano nangyari? Now you're free. You're free na. And because you're free, now you can be an achiever as a result of that love from God. Now it's okay to be an achiever na. Kasi Lord, I'm gonna do this for you. Not out of pleasing people, not because people encourage you. Well, that's great, no? Not because people were patting you on the back or because of brokenness. Hindi na ka brokenness eh. Hindi na ka insecurity. But because now you understand the forgiveness of God and love. And when we are in love, and I'm pretty sure you've experienced being in love at this one point. Parang you can do almost anything in the world. No, this is God's love telling you, I love you, Clarence. I love you, Clarence. Now you can achieve everything for God. Not out of overachievement or insecurity or pleasing people, not out of their expectation, but because God loves you. And so when you graduate after 2 sems, ready ka, Clarence. Kasi you're gonna achieve a lot of things, great things. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to achieve a lot of great things in the world, Clarence. Kasi if you tone it down, ayaw mo naman to tone that down when you graduate. Tapos, hindi ako mag-a-achieve kasi you don't want that baggage. In the first place, wala na palang baggage kasi tapos na siya. It is finished na eh. Everything is okay. Now you can be now you can be a better achiever. Not because
the better achiever.
The version of achiever that God wants you to be. Achieving for God. Because you've experienced love, not achieving for men. Kasi may kailangan kang may expectation na kailangan kang i-set, di ba? So now the standard, hindi na yung standard mo. Now the standard is, Lord, is because you love me, I'm gonna give this to you. Now it becomes a worship na. Lord, I'm gonna give this to you, Lord. And I know, Lord, that you're gonna help me, Father, to become better and better. Now, this time, for Him alone.
Yeah. Super love that. I super love that. Super kasi really, there are details on, thank you so much first of all. Sobrang it made sense kasi there are details along the way na I really catch myself doing things and in the back of my head, I know na I'm doing this for someone. I know na I'm doing this so that I have to say something on our next reunion. Also, I'm doing this para at the end of the day, meron akong makwento sa parents ko or sa mga kapatid ko. That is so true. And that's something that I'm very denial. Kasi nga, para I grew up in a mindset na, we have to do this for God and all that. So parang for me, I wanted it to look like that's what I was doing. Pero hindi naman yun talaga. And this is what I mean by when I say that the gospel is really timeless because I've heard this na 11 years ago. I've heard this na 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I've heard this, and it's so true na the gospel really applies on every single day, on every different situation, on every different people, different mindsets. And that's so true. And it's so stupid na I'm smiling now because I've heard this years ago, legit na. I've heard about this. I've heard about the concept of worshiping God through what we're doing. But when you're really replenished and really refreshed, it made different sense. Yeah. Thank you so much for that. That's really beautiful.
You know what, Clarence? Ako nga, pati ako kinikilabutan eh. Yung pala yun eh. Kasi you see, this is really the leading of God, no? We cannot really worship God. I mean, we cannot really love God. We cannot really understand to surrender unless we understand the gospel more and more, unless we embrace the gospel. And that's what happened today. Na-reinforce lalo yung gospel. Really, the gospel is the answer to man's problem. That's I've always believed that. So Clarence, I still want you. I mean, as your pastor, no. Go Santa Mesa. I still want you to achieve for great things for God. Let's change the world. And if we want to change the world, we have to achieve great things in life. This time, out of righteousness na, out of God's love na. And let people encourage you lang. Go ahead, let them encourage you. But this time, thank you so much for encouraging me. And I'm gonna do this for God. Yun na. Kasi wala, tapos na yung past.
That's true.
Now there's freedom to achieve more. At may purpose ang pag-achieve na. And maybe your friends, the reason why they feel that, para saan ba talaga to? Well, this time, this is for God. To advance the kingdom, to change the world, to make an impact in people's life, to affect people. And maybe God wants to use you mightily to change the world, change a nation. Baguhin ang sistema. Di ba? Parang ganun. Baka kailangan natin na mas marami pang katulad mo na ganyan mag-isip. Di ba? Pero this time, para sa Diyos at para sa bayan.
Naising it.
Yes.
I love that, Pastor Paul. Thank you. Thank you so much. And go.
And this is not the last conversation. Syempre, mag-uusap pa tayo ulit. Diba? So, marami pa tayong conversation.
I love how it turned out. Because I was deciding it a while ago. So, pupunta to, baka umiyak na lang ako. But I love it. I love it. That's so true. And I really hope na it translates well to other people out there who are also going through the same stuff like me.
And I love how God led this conversation. Sabi ko, parang, when I was listening to you, there's someone na dalhin tong conversation na to, Lord. Sabi ko, nag-pray ako. And God was just telling me, makinig ka lang kay Clarence. Galing. Let's pray, and let's close this. Let's close this show. Lord, I pray for Clarence. Thank you so much because, Lord, despite of the unfortunate, maybe how ugly the past was, you redeemed it, Lord God. You redeemed it, Lord. It was because of you. That's why he's still here, Lord God. And maybe he have believed a lie, Lord God, that he doesn't want to be an overachiever anymore, Lord. Lord, you've called us to change the world. You've called us to advance your kingdom, Lord God. Why should we not? Why should we not, Lord God, do that? But this time, we're going to do this for you. Lord, we're grateful, Lord God, for the people that you've given to Clarence, Lord. And I pray, Lord, that from this day on, he will do what you have purposed him to do. Bless his family, bless his mom, bless his dad. Lord, thank you for the great endeavors that you will give to his life in the future to come. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen and amen.
Thank you so much, Pastor Paul.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I love it. I love it.
And again, this is not our last conversation, Clarence. Mag-uusap pa tayo ulit.
Please.
Yes,
please. Okay.
Oh, and that's it. That's another episode for People on People. And if you have issues, struggles, or challenges in life, whether that's family or whether that's broken hearts or maybe issues na gusto mong sabihin, please talk to me and PM me. PM is the key. Just PM me sa Facebook page ko na People on People and I'm gonna reply to you and let's find the answer together. That's it. This has been People and with me is sino ba?
Clarence.
Clarence. Clarence. Oh, God bless you. God bless. Wait lang.